Hello guys, okay, for one moment there I got carried away. It's a new song I'm listening to. It's by Aver featuring Amber Bullock and it's called Believe Louder.
Something's gotta give. Things have got to change. We were made to win, so defeat just can't remain. He gave us power to conquer all. So don't just stand there. Ooh, you gotta walk in authority and declare to the enemy that you believe.
I'm so excited to be here. This is the second episode of The Unusual. You don't know how tough it was trying to do this pre-production, so it was crazy. But we're finally here. It's good to have you. Thank you guys for taking out time to watch. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, better late than never. My name is THEUNUSUALBYMCM, and I am the host for The Unusual. And of course, as it always is, it promises to be exciting, fun, and inspiring. So don't go anywhere. We'll take a teeny weeny break and we'll be right back. Okay, you're welcome back. This is The Unusual, and my name again is THEUNUSUALBYMCM. This is a segment where we get to talk about things that happen in the society that we rarely talk about, things that just happen and everybody just think it's normal. And on this segment, it's called the Rare Talks. Rare Talks is picking up an issue, what's going on in society, what you've noticed, and we get to talk about it. I get to talk about it, and then you get to comment on our social media platforms. Okay, so head to our Facebook page. It's The Unusual by MCM, The Unusual by MCM. Head to our Instagram page as well. It's The Unusual by MCM. What we're talking about today is suicide. Why suicide? They say in America every 15 minutes someone commits suicide. It's become the second most leading cause of death. Why this happens, I do not know. I think it's as a result of depression, sometimes dissatisfaction with life. Years back, I remember in my teenagers, I was dissatisfied with some things in my life and I tried to take my life. Imagine if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you and enjoying this very bit of thing that I'm doing, sharing my life experience with you. Look at Amy Winehouse, look at Marilyn Monroe, look at Robin Williams. It could have been your cousin, your friend, someone you know who committed suicide. This topic is not to evoke bad memories, neither is it to cause a bad stir of emotion. It's just to talk about it, address it, and probably in the hope of it, reach out to someone who has suicidal tendencies. So this is hoping that you share your experience with us. Head to our social media platforms, like I told you already, and share this part of us with us, what it is that you've experienced. You know anyone who tried to commit suicide? Did they come out of it well? Tell us how you came out of yours, even if you tried to take your life at some point and then you never ended up doing that. Tell us what your experiences have been like. Thank you for watching The Unusual. This is the part we're moving on to where I get to talk to a special person, someone we think is doing phenomenally well in whatever it is they're doing, and we get to ask them a few questions. And so today I do have a very fine young gentleman. He's a doctor and he's also a pastor. He doubles as both. I think he also likes to work out. So we're going to be talking to him today. His name is Dr. Phil Ransom Bello. I like the ring to that name. It sounds very elite, Dr. Phil Ransom Bello. Okay, so he's here with me now.
Let me hear you say, oh, oh, you're heading up.
Thank you, C, for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, so I'm guessing, would you rather be called Dr. Phil or Pastor Phil?
Well, actually, Pastor Phil, Dr. Phil. I like Dr. Phil. I like Dr. Phil.
Okay. So let's talk about your church here in Abuja, Nigeria. How did it all start? I see you've been able to gather excited young people, and it's inspiring to know that you're doing that here.
Well, it started sometime in 2014, last year, in January, while I was in camp, because I just finished serving as well, like late last year. So I met a couple of friends and I told them about church, that I was coming here and to start church. And I found very interesting people in camp who were willing to join me. So I was just blessed to have wonderful people around. I happened to minister in camp, I remember. And I was given that platform, an opportunity to be a blessing. And from there, people came to meet me afterwards saying, I'd like to be a part of what you're doing. You know, so that's how we started. We didn't have much, you know, but I just stepped out by faith and look for where I am today.
It's very important before you become a pastor, you must have some level of spiritual gift. So what's your strongest spiritual gift?
It's a grace for, you know, a couple of my friends have told me that I have a unique gifting in the area of teaching, you know, and I happen to enjoy teaching. You know, I love to expose what the word says. I love to explain scriptures, you know. I like to, and there is this ease when I'm teaching the word, you know. So it's something I've always loved to do, and I thank God also for the gift of prophecy as well. And while I'm talking, sometimes things just take over. The Spirit of God just takes over me, and I begin to speak, and the words begin to channel into the hearts of people. Yeah, so I'm grateful to God for that, and I thank God for the voice He has given me as well.
Okay. I'm going to ask you. Okay, so what is the goofiest thing you've done or said on the pulpit, and you went like, "Oops, I didn't just say or do that."
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I said something really nasty, you know, one day, and I was preaching on identity, I think, and I went like, you don't need anything to complete you. You're complete in Christ. You know, you're not the shoes you wear, you're not the car you drive, you're not the clothes you wear. And I now turn to the ladies, I'm like, you're not the wig you wear. And I'm like, then I went down, you know, behind the pulpit. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. You know.
I kind of think that a lot of people assume that pastors are a special kind of human, and so they expect so much from pastors. Do you feel pressure to put up a nice guy front just to put up with this image?
Well, that's a feeling that, you know, most leaders have, you know, because you always want to look, you know, all put together in front of your people, and, you know, but the best thing for any leader is just to be himself. You know, let people see you for who you really are. You don't need to pretend, have a double face, you know. And one of the things that that has helped me is I keep pointing the people to Christ and not to me, you know, because I am perfect in Him, you know, and my sufficiency is in Him. So I don't want to point you to me, but I would rather point you to Christ, and that's been great for me. That's what
I do know this one thing about God, which is the fact that He's synonymous with chattering every individual's life in the peculiar form. But if you did have an option to choose, what pastor would you exactly want to be like?
A known pastor, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I love Pastor Paul Adefarasi.
Okay.
Yes. he's a man given to excellence, and he's driven by so much of. In fact, he's a visionary.
Good.
You know, he's a visionary. So
Okay, so apart from that, anything else you haven't seen anything synonymous with him?
yeah, I like his perspective, you know, to ministry, and I like his approach to how he conveys ministry, and he makes you see that ministry is actually business. It's God's business, and it's something you must invest your time, invest skill, and put in excellence in. You know?
So what is the role of a pastor in the life of his congregation?
Well, I think that the role of the pastor is to feed the people, to feed the flock. I think it's also to build them spiritually, and also to present them to a place where they have grown and they feel this, how do I put it now? You know, there is no inferiority, you know, when you're standing with Christ, you know, to build their consciousness of the identity of who they are in Christ, you know. So I feel that the role of every pastor is to feed the flock and point them to Christ. Because Paul says, you know, Paul says that Christ is who you preach. I don't want to know any other thing other than Christ and his cross, or Christ and him crucified. So it's good to let people know who Christ is to them and who they are in Christ. So that's the role, you know, the pastor. Feed the people, encourage them, pray for them, and you just have to be there for everybody.
I do know that to be knowledgeable in whatever you're doing, whether as a pastor or as anything else, you have to be a vast reader. So what books are you currently reading?
I'm doing a book by Spirit, Soul and Body by Andrew Womack. You know, and Andrew Womack is one of my favorite authors. I like E.W. Kenyon, you know. I like Watchman Nee. And my father as well is an amazing author. You know, he happened to be one of the early influences in my life and helped me channel my passions for ministry correctly by teaching me rightly the doctrines of what I preach today. So I read a lot of his books as well, Bishop Ransom Bello. You know, and I read the books written by Reverend Wale Ajayi, you know, and a few others. Yeah.
Okay. I see you're not married because I don't see any ring there. So I'm guessing you're single, right? Okay, so are you celibate? I suppose so. I hear that when you approach the 30s, which I think you have approached,
Yes.
the hormones get really wild.
Yes.
So how do you tame
How do you
it?
know that? Well,
How do you tame it?
you see, the pressures are there,
Okay.
internally and externally. I can't deny it. Yes, I can't deny it. But you know, when you have always been groomed in a particular way, you're used to having a particular discipline, you know. I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm super, of which I am in Christ, you know, but I just tell myself I must wait until I get it right.
So how do you unwind? I'm guessing that there are days that you're not going about your pastoral duties or your medical practice, and you're like, heavens, today I just want to rest. I want to lay up my legs on the couch and splurge, or whatever it is that you do.
Well, what I enjoy, you know, doing, I love to play soccer.
Okay.
You know, I really love to play football, and I love to watch movies. You know, I just want to take my mind off too much reading, and, you know, and get my mind off things. You know, I enjoy playing soccer, keeps me fit, so I enjoy it.
Oh, it's been an amazing time talking to you. Thank you so much for honoring this. Thank you so much for being on The Unusual. Do you have any last words for my viewers?
I will like to encourage every young person to keep staying in the path of discovering your purposes, especially what God has, you know, ordained for you to do, because I believe that every person is meant for a particular task. You don't want to live someone else's life. You don't want to be somebody else. You want to be exactly the person God wants you to be. And like what I would love to always say is, what God wants you to do is what you would eventually really like to do, because He's the one who puts in the desire and the will to do that thing He wants you to do. So my prayer for you is that you will stay in the place of purpose, and you will stay in the place of fulfilling God's will.
I'm sure that you've enjoyed every bit of this as much as I have. Well, The Unusual promises to be more interesting as we bring you lined up topics, interesting guests, and every other thing that you've ever thought about in the gospel scene. Okay, so till I come your way again next episode, my name remains C. Odibeli. Bye bye.